Hello there, and welcome to my virtual cottage. This is another edition of Convention Tea. In fact, this is our first serving of Convention Tea in 2025. Today we are covering Anime Los Angeles 2025. This is Anime Los Angeles. I know, this is ALA's 20th anniversary, and we are going to be heading to Long Beach to talk more about Anime Los Angeles 2025. But first, a little bit about who we are. So, I run Scarlet Rhapsody. Scarlet Rhapsody is a long-running website that has been around since 2000, and I've been documenting conventions since the early 2000s. Basically, I just wanted to share photos, talk about my experience at these conventions I've gone to. So I just wanted to just build a website, and since then I've been traveling from coast to coast, living in different parts of the country, covering different kinds of conventions, and I'm very excited that we're actually going to add a couple more conventions that we're going to this year, one of which includes Emerald City Comic Con and Worldcon. We're actually going to give Worldcon a second chance here. I'm actually excited about Worldcon. I'm actually on board in being a panelist, so I'm very excited that we're going forward with covering more conventions this year. But do check us out, scarletrhapsody.com. It's on the link in the description to see our longest active archive of convention reports that are online. I take a lot of pride in saying we are the longest running and active archive of convention reports, documenting photos, documenting stories from fandom conventions since the early 2000s, and we don't intend to stop anytime soon. All right, let's talk some ALA. So, with ALA, we had about 18,000 unique attendees here in the LBC, otherwise known as Long Beach City, or Long Beach for short if you're a local. The con lasts for about 4 days, from Thursday through Sunday, and it was going through some unprecedented, disastrous times here at, excuse me, some unprecedented times here in Los Angeles. We actually had some fire going on, and it was not very good, let's say the least. The air quality on day one especially was actually fairly terrible. I actually had to wear a mask during the weekend of ALA, if any time I was outdoors. And then I just decided to, play it safe, just mask up. I know there were a few days when I parked outside, my car had a little bit of ash in it. It wasn't covered in ash, but you know what? The show had to go on. But just for those of you who have not been to Long Beach or familiar with the Southern California area, the greater Los Angeles area is really huge. All the fires were happening about an hour, 90 minutes north of ALA. We were getting that orange glow, especially on Thursday when you were seeing the fires just coming down. We were just really just trying to play it safe. It was just an unfortunate situation that just happened to happen while the convention was going on. So I just wanted to just sort of just kind of give you some historical context here, that we had the Pacific Palisades fire and the Pasadena fire happening at the same time. Okay, and before we move on, let's just address some questions in the chat. Am I a teacher? Well, I teach many things. Does that count? I'm a lecturer of sorts. I like talking about things. I've done panels, and I will also talk about some of the panels I've done at this convention. Thank you so much for the compliment on my voice. Your voice gives life to the avatar, because if for real, I would use that voice for the avatar. It's funny because I'm actually trying to get through a cold right now. This is a lot lower than my usual register of my voice. All right, so here we have just a quick little advertisement here. Use code Spectre15 to get 15% off your order at Petals and Poison. If you love all things spooky, if you love all things goth, if Halloween is your favorite holiday and you just want to live that gothic life, highly recommend checking out Petals and Poison. And again, you can get 15% off your order if you use my offer code Spectre15. All right, let's just talk about ALA 2025. For most of ALA, I actually wore cosplays that I've made myself. Sometimes I just go in a mix of like, okay, I bought this off of eBay or Ubo cosplay or wherever people buy their cosplays, Amazon. This time I just decided like, you know what? Let me make something new, a few new things for ALA. So, for Anime Los Angeles, I remade my Princess Mars cosplay. I originally wore Princess Mars back in the early 2000s. It was one of my first costumes. In fact, I even wore it at Anime Expo 2002 when it was in Long Beach. So I remade my Princess Mars cosplay. It took me about 2 weeks to do. Only took me that long because I have cats who like to sleep on fabric. And then I also made Idol Sailor Mars, which showed up in one episode of the original TV series. Not pictured here. I wore Nero from Fate Grand Order. And then also, I have Girl Type Ranma from the second Ranma movie, Rescue the Concubines. And thank you so much for the compliment. Yes, I agree. They are very nice dresses. I love making dresses. That's usually like my specialty when it comes to cosplay because since I was a youngster, I've always wanted to make like a retro like dresses. I used to watch a lot of old Hollywood movies. Like, oh, I want to dress up like Audrey Hepburn. I love those dresses in West Side Story when they like I'll do the whole model sequence. I always had a penchant for retro dresses, so I got my start in making dresses, and it's what I love to do. All right, Long Beach. Let's talk about Long Beach as location. So, I've been to Anime Expo when it was in Long Beach back in '01, '02, and again in '07. This is me and my friend crew back in Anime Expo 2002. You can see here, this is like the wall of the Long Beach Convention Center. And also pictured here, you know what? Anime Los Angeles, they have this tradition that came from science fiction conventions run by boomers. And you have here is a ribbon. So part of the con culture of Anime Los Angeles is they like to pass out ribbons and you can collect ribbons that you can add to your badge. So if I ran into someone who has attended Anime Expo in '01, '02, '07, the Long Beach years, I ended up just having it, just kind of giving those out to those who've attended Anime Expo during the Long Beach era. The location here is where Anime Expo in '02 had their Meet the Guest reception. I was there. I paid about $10 for a Meet the Guest reception, which is kind of like a wine and dine charcuterie board meet and greet with the guests of honor. Got to meet Maria Kawamura here, best known for the voice of Naga from Slayers. And my friends and I, we got to just have like a little like dinner, dessert with some voice actors and some directors. And Long Beach today. So, like I mentioned, Anime Los Angeles has been in, excuse me, Anime Los Angeles has been at the Long Beach Convention Center for the past 4 years. And this has, just kind of been an ongoing thing for Anime Los Angeles. This here is like the morning of Saturday. Usually we arrive at the convention center early just so we can secure parking because parking can be a bit of a nightmare, especially if there's like a large event at the Long Beach Convention Center. So I usually like coming down to Long Beach a little bit early, grab something from Starbucks, have like a quick snack, because we ended up commuting to the Long Beach Convention Center, because normally I would get a hotel. I usually stay at the Marriott because Marriott points. But decided to save a little bit of money this year just by driving back and forth. Parking costs about $15, which is significantly less than parking in, say, Seattle or Los Angeles. So, yeah, this is Long Beach in the morning. And to my surprise, because I was walking around, minding my business, and all of a sudden it hit me in the eye. Flash, bam, alakazam. We have this portrait of the Anime Los Angeles mascot, Ala, dressed up as Miss Suzaku no Miko from Fushigi Yugi. And this is me cosplaying as Miyaka last year. And I'm like, coincidence? No, actually, either way, like coincidence or not, I actually do appreciate seeing Fushigi Yugi representation in 2025. This was like my favorite like anime when I was a teenager because it was like CW isekai, like isekai, but soap opera, harem of cute guys, and it was amazing. And this was just one of my dream costumes, and I won a Hall Cosplay Award for this cosplay last year. Something I like to mention anytime I do these rundowns of conventions that I attend. Let's talk about some popular fandoms. What fandoms were represented at Anime Los Angeles? So, we have Powder from Arcane. We had a lot of Arcane cosplay here. Arcane just finished up season 2. I am looking forward to what comes next. Hoping for some Ionia adventures and so forth, and maybe throw some Bilgewater here and there. And yes, Dan to Dan, that's the anime that I recently finished up season 1. Did you have to end it on that note, really? A lot of Dan to Dan this year. A lot of my friends are cosplaying from Dan to Dan. I was even joking that like I need to see fan art of Mulder and Scully cosplaying from Dan to Dan because that would be funny to me. Or like Mabel and her brother from Gravity Falls cosplaying from Dan to Dan because that would be funny to me. And of course, you always had the plethora of One Piece cosplayers. Also, I like to talk about flashback fandoms. These are fandoms that you don't always see at conventions, but you're happy they're there. And of course, everyone's going to have like a different, like, ooh, I did not recognize that, but I'm glad it's here. So we have Wedding Peach. Fun fact, I was in a Wedding Peach fandom like in the early 2000s. I voiced Angel Lily in this Wedding Peach fandom. And then the one in the middle is Austin Powers. Austin Powers was a spy sex comedy back in the late 90s into the early 2000s. And it had such characters as Austin Powers, Dr. Evil, my personal favorite, number 2. Also, another one of my favorites, Mr. Bigglesworth. And then, of course, we have here Misa from Macross. We'll definitely talk about some Macross in our talk about Anime Los Angeles because right after con, I just had to go back and watch Macross Plus because of a certain guest of honor. All right. Before we talk about day 1 of Anime Los Angeles, let's just hear it from one of the people that we love. And did you know I'm in an idol group? I am in the idol group known as Angel Hearts. You can follow us at Instagram over at Angel Hearts Idols and definitely support us anytime we perform at the next con. All right, day 1. All right, let's talk about picking up that badge. This was my first year having an industry badge for being a girl boss. Now, let me tell you about that. I'm actually a published writer. My first book is coming out this year, and this is the first time I'm getting an industry badge for my work as a writer, and I really feel that it is a pride and an achievement that I have earned. And I literally have my industry badge from Anime Los Angeles like hanging on my corkboard right now with the millions of ribbons like trailing off after it because to me this was a huge achievement for me to achieve an industry badge of my own work and of my own accord. I've had industry badges in the past, but they were through like film festivals, they were through helping out conventions. So this was just quite an honor to, you know, just get an industry badge right here. Getting the badge wasn't too hard to obtain actually. Getting that industry badge, just go in, just pick up your badge. Because I was also a panelist, I was also able to get a panelist ribbon to add to that badge as well. So yeah, I was able to take care of all of that. Oh, whoops. Hang on. We are experiencing some technical difficulties. Hang on 1 second. Okay, and we are back. All right, continuing on with day one, the first thing I did was actually give a panel presentation. I actually got to talk about fandom in the 90s and early 2000s. This is what I call the In My Cringe Era panel. Basically, just talking about what it was like to be a cringy teen getting into anime in the 90s and 2000s. What was it like going to conventions in the 90s and in the early 2000s, like those golden years of the anime fandom as it was being shown on UPN, Toonami, Adult Swim, CW, and more. So this panel is all about that life. And you can read more about that in my upcoming book, The Fangirl Diaries. More information in the bio. Also, I wanted to add that I did mention ribbons earlier. So, a lot of times at Anime Los Angeles, you'll find people trading ribbons. You'll see people with their badges, with long ribbon trains, and so forth. I was actually giving away a couple ribbons, including one that shows my social media, another one that, like, again, if you attended a Anime Expo in the past, you could also get one of these. We can also, if you know who this powder person here, I will give you this ribbon. Excuse me one second. And we also have Jinx for arcane cosplayers. I also had a Sailor Mars one up here too for folks who took a photo of my Sailor Mars cosplay. One of Nero that I took around with me. If anyone took a picture of me in my Nero cosplay. This is not my Ranma one, but it's a Ranma one that I decided to like that was handed out to me because I told someone that, like, yeah, I cosplay from Ranma. I'll be cosplaying as Ranma on the last day. And of course, my last Filipino ribbon. I need to make more of these because apparently Washington has Filipinos in it. I was not told. So, day one. This is also corkboard where you can find like who is trading ribbons, if there were like any ribbon games where you had to collect a certain thematic set of ribbons. Like, for example, I was also in the Genshin Impact ribbon game as Jean, and there was multiple people around the con who were carrying around Genshin Impact ribbons, and you could ask them a question, like a trivia question might be given to you, or if you approach me and if you wanted a Jean ribbon, I would just ask you, like, name me your favorite sword lesbian. It can be from any fandom. And I'd hand you a Jean ribbon. And a lot of people will like try to get the whole cast, whether it was like Sailor Moon, Genshin Impact, and so forth. And next year, it looks like I'm part of a Magical Girl ribbon training group. I'll be representing Fushigi Yugi for that one. So I might ask you, by the way, you just got isekai to ancient China with your best friend? There's a hot guy. What do you do? I'm not showing the full photo here, so these guys, they like to run around and do like a Twitch poll. So they ask here, who would win in a fight? Ultra Instinct Goku or Latin America's love for DBZ? And leading by over 40 points, we had Latin America's love for DBZ. No surprise there. Also, something about ALA culture is if you took photos at Anime Los Angeles, they would also like post them on the walls here. So I kind of like this Inception photo I took of Twisted Wonderland cosplayers. Like, oh, hey, here's our photo. Again, I gotta appreciate the Inception kind of vibe here. Okay, excuse me. All right. All right. So another thing that was offered during day one of Anime Los Angeles was the ballroom dance. And before you could do the ballroom dance or attend the actual formal, they were also giving dance lessons on day one in live programming one. Of course, we had some cosplay highlights. We had Eevee, we had Pikachu over here. Everyone was taking photos with these guys right here, and they were adorable. How could you not? Speaking of the 90s, I also attended the 90s anime gathering. I'm in the other photo, one after this one. So we were doing like this different like series, like if you were on Toonami, if you were on the WB, if you were on Adult Swim, if you're a magical girl, if you're a shonen character, if you're a character that fights, such as this one right here. Yeah, you can see me as Princess Mars about to go into the finger guns into Fire's Soul. But yeah, it was just a treat, like just seeing like folks cosplaying from Ranma. I haven't seen Inuyasha cosplayers in quite some time. I'll say occasional Sesshomaru and occasional Kagami, but like, oh hey, Inuyasha, I know you. But yeah, we have Chidori Kaname here. Yeah, we also have Jet Black, Kenshin, Ash, great teacher Onizuka. I remember when that was on Showtime. One of my favorite places to dine during ALA is like the food truck zone. And of course, Okamoto Kitchen is always going to have that line, but I can guarantee you, if you've gone to Anime Expo and waited in the Okamoto Kitchen line, waiting line at Okamoto Kitchen wasn't too bad. I think it only took about 20 minutes from the start of the line to the end of the line to get my um, Okamoto loaded fries. And trust me, I needed it at the end of the day. I'm not pictured here. I also went to the Tentacle Grape booth, and they were also selling some sodas. I'm like, okay, I'll get like a pack of soda, and that will last me throughout the convention. Also, just perusing through the dealer's hall, I do appreciate seeing some old school anime art books here. If you look closely, there is a Lady Oscar Rosa Versailles art book. And I believe I have that Sailor Moon book there. It was funny because I was at Animate last weekend and there was a section that says classic anime and they listed Madoka as classic anime. I'm like, guys, I felt like Madoka, we just got that yesterday. But then again, I'm old. But you know what? I might be old, but I'm not obsolete. Okay, day one. You also had like this guide going around with this ranking board here, so you be the judge if you agree with this. You could also switch around, like just if you disagreed with any of these rankings here. I know my buddy Rams would definitely switch out Transformers from being mid, but I don't know what he would switch it up with. Also, we have the ballroom dance. The ballroom dance that's run by California Cosplay Gala. Just a little bit of disclosure, I also help out California Cosplay Gala with their ballroom dance. And I was asked to help out coordinating the Royal Court. The Royal Court is much like selecting the prom king and queen, but we want to also open up to people who really wanted to like really show off their outfits, really show off their dance moves, and more. And this is our royal court for the formal ball. I got to announce the winners as Princess Mars. It was a lot of fun. I had a great team of judges. I had Kira Masquerade, Angel, and I also had Tofu Cosplay. Great team of judges, would work again, would highly recommend to any of my compatriots who run cosplay events. If you ever need a judge, this is my recommendation to you. All right, before we move forward into day two, you too can get 10% off your order at multitasky.com. A lot of times I go to conventions to, take cosplay photos, like here at the historic Biltmore Hotel at Anime Expo. And sometimes I might not always have time to book a photographer, or a lot of these photographers are guys with cameras that I can't trust. So what I do is I just get that handy dandy timer. I have my handy dandy light ring and stand here, and I just take photos of myself. So you can use my offer code here, Cadillac Cats, for 10% off your order over at multitasky.com. And remember, do not be a gooner with a camera. All right, day two, just waltz right in. Kogeya, you really don't quite see that often, and I really do appreciate some of the mecha here. Also, like I mentioned before, Arcane was very popular this year, In fact, in the dealer's room, you could also get official merchandise from the Arcane series. You also had like Arcane nail polish, which I did pick up. They also had Arcane themed hair dye based on character hair colors. And also, what I liked about the Artist Alley is there was an influx of Arcane merchandise sold by artists. So you could also get your favorite gay scientist bros, however way you want to interpret that relationship. And then you also had gay, my favorite lesbian cops. And so something that surprised me in the dealer's hall was the presence of VHS tapes. I saw some original and deep dub VHS tapes of Sailor Moon sitting here side by side. So if you still had a working VHS player, you can get a copy of the Deke dub for $15. Um, and you could also get a copy of the original Japanese audio at $30. Interesting seeing this and these antiquities at conventions. Also, like I mentioned earlier, I was cosplaying as Nero for Cosplay Wrestling Federation. So here you guys got a couple of fake cosplayers. I just happened to happenstance run into them. I was like, hey, it's Nero. Like, hey, let's take a photo together. So we had to ask like an innocent bystander to take a group photo of us. Like, yay, more fake friends. I also got this handy dandy a summoner card dealie from the Fake Grand Order. It was like a 3D printer type thing where if you scanned a QR code on it, it has like the information of the cosplayer who handed it out. So it was like a really nifty way to like do like to share your socials to someone. Just give them like a cosplay accessory that they can use and have a QR code to your socials. Pretty clever. Other highlights of day 2, Cosplay Wrestling Federation. So I entered in as Nero. I was representing the Pacific Northwest, mainly because I debuted Nero in the Pacific Northwest, and we thought it would be funny to pair up Nero and Litten, the fire starter kitten from Pokemon, together on stage. Litten was also my starter when I was playing this iteration of Pokemon, and my joke when I performed as Nero at SoccerCon's like, yes, Litten, you're gonna be my Instagram kitty. I'm gonna take photos of you. You're gonna hang out in my menagerie. It's gonna be all bougie, and you're gonna be like my purse cat. I'm gonna take you to places. But we decided to team up against censorship. So we kind of had Tuxedo Mask and Mr. Four Kids right here. So yeah, like we're here to party. We're here to have a good time. And Mr. Four Kids and Tuxedo Mask want to take a dump all over that. And we ain't gonna let that happen. And then here's my buddy Chris cosplaying as Doof, who's also part of the show as well. I was just taking a photo here because like, yeah, it's late at night. I'll just take some solo photos of myself here before I have to head on home. And just other highlights of Cosplay Wrestling Federation. We have our Blackout Belt champions. We got Doom. We got Loki. And we have Mr. Satan. And of course, just some late night shenanigans. Sometimes people will like throw music like in the middle of the convention center hall here. And you know what? Just have a good time. Okay, before going forward, let's talk about Magic Candle Company. Magic Candle Company is one of my favorite candle companies. They sell candles based off of theme park scents. I know it sounds weird, but you know what? I used to be a theme park girly back when I could afford it. So, if you're like me and you miss the scent of the Haunted Mansion during the holidays, you can get Haunted Holiday and smell that gingerbread. Ooh, that sounds nice right now. If you also love the ride that's known as Soarin' Over the World, you can also get that lovely lavender scent from India, Soarin' Over India. So definitely check out Magic Candle Company. There might be scent in there that you like, especially some really unique scents such as pirate water, because you can't get enough of that Pirates of the Caribbean water. And Nero's personal favorite, Rome Burning. And all this for $20 15% off if you use our code EAT15 at checkout. So 15% off if you use our code EAT15. All right, day 3. Day 3 is Saturday, the big day. So what can we expect on day 3? This is already people gathering in to get into the dealer's hall. The doors open around at 10, and people were just lining up to just get into that massive exhibit hall. I was just kind of like just walking around, just taking photos of cosplayers, because again, it was fairly clear during Saturday morning to take photos, do some ribbon trading, and just kind of sort of plan out my day. And also because I decided to just show up a little bit early, I ran into the Hall Cosplay Contest. The Hall Cosplay Contest had like a central desk now, because in the past, the Hall Cosplay Contest judges would just like scour the convention. They would just kind of run around the convention looking for cosplays that would fit their criteria for Hall Cosplay. I know I was awarded Hall Cosplay Award as Queen Elizabeth one year, and the previous year, like I mentioned, I was cosplaying as the Priestess of Suzaku. So you kind of here you have like when the cosplay contest judges for Hall Cosplay document the cosplayer's photo here. This cosplayer here, they are cosplaying from American McGee's Alice. If I am wrong, please let me know. And also, if you still kind of like just look closely, like right behind them in that yellow tablecloth, I don't have a clear photo of them, but that's Honey Teas. And Honey Teas was my lifesaver during the convention because I appreciated their free samples of hot tea and cold tea because they had flavored lemonade tea, they had lavender tea, blueberry tea. I'm a huge fan of honey tea because I drink that every day. In fact, I'm drinking like a cup right now to get over my cold here. But yeah, I'm very happy that ALA has integrated a Hall Cosplay Contest and something new for cosplayers to check out. If you couldn't get into the masquerade, this is also another way to have your peers take a look and adjudicate your hard work. I just decided to enter for fun. I didn't get anything as Mars, but you know, that's okay. I'm just happy to support. I'm just happy to see this here. Also, speaking of magical girls, I also attended the Magical Girl Gathering. So the Magical Girl Gathering, these are just photos from my camera. I don't have any photos of me as Idol Mars at the Magical Girl Gathering. So sometimes you had the call outs like, yeah, are you the pink magical girl? So you have Mew Ichigo, Cardcaptor Sakura over here. And of course you have the gaggle of Madoka cosplayers, and you have, we have like a Cube Smalls in the center of it. Another gathering I went to was the League of Legends gathering. I wanted to attend this gathering. I saw it on the schedule. It was in the gathering site. I forgot what number it was, but the way it was like labeled on the map was kind of vague because to kind of give you an idea, the side of the convention where this was held is kind of like a two-story kind of setup, so I couldn't tell if it was on the first story or the second story. And my feedback for Anime Los Angeles is to also have maybe a visual guide on the website just showing photos of this is what Gathering Site 5 looks like, this is what Gathering Site 7 looks like. So having a visual really helps. I know in the past, like for example, my buddy Robert Torres Photography, anytime he has a gathering site, he does a like, this is on the entrance of the convention center, and let me just show you a video walkthrough of getting from the entrance to the convention center so you know how to get to the gathering spot. And like I mentioned before, Arcane, super popular this year, especially in the Caitlyn department. And of course, it's also League of Legends gathering, so this is my gal, Ari. I'm an Ari main, so I have a bias. I also cosplay as Star Guardian Ari. A couple more cosplayers from League. And then you also have the massive League cast photo here. It kind of makes me wish I brought my Star Guardian Ari, because I wore Seraphine a lot last year, and I'm actually surprised, like, I surprised that like, well, I did go to one League of Legends cosplay gathering. That was at San Diego Comic Con, but there's so few of us. It made me sad. But I made a couple of friends over at that league gathering. But I know next time, like, hopefully my schedule aligns just about right, where I can be a part of a league gathering just like this one. All right, just kind of going through day 3. And over here, this is like the commons area. If you wanted to like take photos, a lot of guys with cameras in this area, unfortunately. There was also that bridge that also overlooked the Queen Mary, overlooked the Rainbow Lagoon, and so forth. That was also a really nice spot for photos. Really amazing Jujutsu Kaisen group here. Also, I was in Cosplay Wrestling Federation. I don't have photos of me going up as Idol Mars, but if you watch the ALA 20 recap video, you can actually see me as Idol Mars just walking down the aisle. I was actually walking down the aisle to a Japanese cover of Espresso. That was a lot of fun. I was actually surprised because I made it to round 2, and this is my first time entering a Cosplay Wrestling Federation event where it is for the main title belt. I've gone for the Pacific Northwest Cherry Tempest belt. I have gone for the Supernova belt, but this is my first time doing a show where I'm going for the main belt, and I was actually quite surprised to make it into the finals. And I'm like, whoa. I was actually reusing material that I cut during my promo because I had to cut it for time. How do I feel about my performance? I just love being up there. I really like getting the audience worked up too. It was a lot of fun. I know, like, yeah, there's a lot of things I still feel like I need to learn. I need to brush up on improv. My theater background is more. My theater background is more like towards Broadway, towards opera, where it involves a lot of memorization, and I kind of need to break out of that habit. So, but it was a fun event, and you know what? If you ever have the chance, I highly recommend checking out Cosplay Wrestling Federation. It's one of my favorite nightlife shows at conventions, even though we've been booked as afternoon shows. Sometimes at conventions, if you want a real laugh, if you just want to like, just have a good time, highly recommend Cosplay Wrestling Federation. And here is our cast photo. This is our whole cast here. We also have, we had the defending champion, Parappa the Rapper, and the person who won the title was Shadow the Hedgehog. You can quite kind of see back there, just holding his 2 belts. All right, before we get into the final day, Sunday, I just wanted to just give a quick shout out to my upcoming book, The Fangirl Diaries, Anime Fandom at the Turn of the Millennium. You could pre-order your copy today, and if I'm at a con you're at, bring a copy of that book. I can go ahead and sign it. This book is coming soon. I can't wait for it to come out, and I can't wait for you to just read about what was it like in the 90s and early 2000s when all this was brand new. What was anime fandom like for a cringy teen? Before streaming? Before social media? What was that life like? And I'm here to tell you all about it here in the Fangirl Diaries. All right, day 4. So, we are driving to the convention, parked on day 4. Day 4, kind of quiet. And it looks like there was like some protesting or some union awareness issues going up. So, they erected this statue of a rat right in front of the Long Beach Convention Center. I didn't quite get to check out what it was all about because we kind of had to go from like one place to another. And also, coincidentally, my buddy and I were listening to Ghost on the way to the convention, and I think Rats was playing. So when I saw this, like I immediately just had Rats stuck in my head by Ghost. And this was the lines to get in. I know like a lot of people were talking about issues they were having with security at Anime Los Angeles. For us, we didn't really have much of an issue. In fact, on day one, because our panel was at 11 a.m., we arrived at about like 10 a.m., but we kind of still wanted to get together with our other panelists, Magical Senpai, to just kind of get things together. And it was very nice of staff to let us at the head of the line so we can pick up our badges and we can go over our presentation with our other panel partner since they were coming in from the Bay Area to do this panel. But so far, I can say I didn't have an issue with security. But from what I was told and from other anecdotes I've heard from friends, there were issues on Thursday about a lot of inconsistencies regarding security. However, that was immediately addressed by Anime Los Angeles rather swiftly. All right, one of my favorite places at Anime Los Angeles, the Prize Emporium. And because Nero and Linen won the title of the Pacific Northwest champions against Mr. Four Kids and Tuxedo Mask, trying to ruin our fun, I ended up getting some prize points for that. So I had enough to get a Shinobu necklace, and I also got an Ala pin. So I have like an Ala enamel pin, and I have like this really cute butterfly motif necklace that's very reminiscent of Shinobu from Demon Slayer. All right, board guy was going around again, and of course I had to put my Oshi in S tier. Some jerk decided to put her like in the way bottom tier. No, 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 no. My Oshi does not belong on the bottom tier. She belongs in the S tier. And I'll have you figure out which one in the S tier is my Oshi. And she deserves it. I also decided to check out the Idol Showcase. I've always been curious about the Idol Showcase at Anime Los Angeles because I wanted to do more events and panels at Anime Los Angeles. So I went to check out the Idol Showcase. It was a lot of fun. I was able to get in time to watch Aquarius. I've been following them for quite some time, and I just love seeing them on stage. I remember when they were a Love Live cover group, and it actually surprised me that they did a cover of Morning Musume's Renai Revolution 21. Like, I remember when that song came out. I also remember when USA Musume, an idol group that covered Morning Musume dances and songs, when they did that. But it was just such a flashback. It was such a throwback to hear Renai Revolution. In addition, we also had Barry. It's always a joy seeing Barry on stage. I love how they had like this really cute Akihabara, like techno kitty kind of look. It was just so adorable. And just anytime they're on the stage, they just really light it up. And it's just such a bundle of joy to see them on stage. You just gotta see it to believe it. And of course, it wouldn't be an idol showcase without our friends, the Wotage. And you had like all these folks standing up here cheering on their favorite idols, cheering them on just with the light pens here, cameras out. I decided to sit down for this one because, like, you know what? I had a bit of a day. I'm just going to sit down here. Just going to watch the idol concert. I'm just going to have a good time. And of course, it wouldn't be an idol showcase without an idol meet and greet. So right by the autograph section, we were able to just get some photos with some of our idols here. So I managed to get one with Aquarius while I was cosplaying as girl type Ranma. Day 4. So day 4 concludes. We had like folks do like badge drops from the second story here. You had people with as many as over 400 ribbons, almost like leading towards the convention center entrance. So this is a tradition at Anime Los Angeles, where at the end of con, after you collect all these ribbons, you take your badge, you go on the second floor, you drop that badge, and you see how long that ribbon train takes you. And with that said, that concludes day 4. All right, before we go into our final thoughts, Convention Tea is brought to you by Yimax Sweater. You can use our code here, YEMAC-Dame Asbel, to get 40% off, yes, 40% off, over at yemacsweater.com. If you're like me, if you like to wear just cozy clothes around the house, or if you're in need for a brand new cardigan, or just looking to gift a friend something sweet and something warm, highly recommend YEMAC Sweater. And again, use my code YEMAC-Dame Asbel to get 40% off your order at yemacsweater.com. All right, first of all, I just want to have a special thanks. I want to give ALA Programming, Malachi, a special thanks for, again, letting us host panels. Another special thank you to the cast and crew of Cosplay Wrestling Federation, the best in cosplay sports entertainment. And I also want to give a shout out to California Cosplay Gala. You three entities are just amazing. Love y'all. And it's always exciting, just really giving me a chance to like give back to this community, just being a part of the programming, being a part of just helping out here to make this convention what it is. All right, this is just a group of us just hanging out on Sunday, just hang out by the cafe with an espresso right before we part ways. But constructive criticism. Well, again, I think my biggest criticism would be to have a visual guide for gathering sites, and maybe perhaps to kind of make like the gathering sites naming conventions a little bit more literal. Because sometimes when you tell me gathering site 7, I'm like, gathering site 7, where is that? I kind of would prefer like just make maybe like just something a little bit more literal, and maybe like on the gathering sites, like just maybe like maybe having like an A-frame of like, here's a list of gatherings, or like hi, you're here at gathering site 7, and so forth. So maybe an addition of an A-frame, or like maybe like a staff person just kind of like just checking in folks who are running gatherings and so forth, because I know Fanime used to have a gathering department that used to do that. So I think that would be helpful to help gatherings run smoother, and so people don't feel like they're lost. Other constructive advice I have. I'm always mixed about ALA being a 4-day convention. I always kind of feel like, I'm okay doing ALA 3 days. In fact, I only did like a half day on Friday because I had an appointment earlier in the afternoon. But I just have some mixed feelings about it being a 4-day convention. I'm just curious to know, what are your guys' thoughts? Should ALA be a 4-day convention or a 3-day convention? I'd like to know like what you think. I really like the programming variety, for starters. I like that there's not one but 2 different talent type competitions. I didn't cover it here, but I did cover it in the review on the website. We also had ALA's Next Top Star. And another thing I really like, let's go into final thoughts, is I really liked Shinichiro Watanabe's panel. Let's see. Where do I begin with that one? I go into more detail on that in my written report. I just love this guy. And I keep forgetting that he co-directed Macross Plus with Shoji Kawamori. And just hearing what this guy's inspirations were, Dirty Harry, The Godfather, him aspiring to be like Robert De Niro, and then also seeing a special showing of one of his short films was very endearing, to seeing one of my favorite anime auteurs speak about his inspirations and then give us a piece of his art that has not been seen in the US. I wish I could have stuck around for the Lazarus screening, which is also his new thing that's coming out this year. However, it was also at the same time as the Idol Showcase. I guess it's a good problem to have when I say that, excuse me, when I say like, oh yeah, there's like this thing I want to do and there's this thing I want to do that's happening at the same time. I know that's a problem that can't be helped, but I also believe that it's a good problem to have because it shows you guys have some great content on there. So I really enjoyed this convention. I like the venue. All around good vibes. I really like the vibes of this convention. It is my favorite California convention. I know like a lot of people are feeling rightfully so jaded about Anime Expo. And I've been going to Anime Expo since 1999, and I've been fairly jaded about Anime Expo. I mean, jaded is an understatement, especially the hell I had to go through last year to get registration and to get a badge into AX. I was even joking around, and this still holds true to this day. It was easier to get a ticket to the Eras tour than Anime Expo. But this convention tea is not about Anime Expo. I would recommend friends who are coming in from out of state. I would recommend them. Hey, check out ALA. It's at the beginning of the year. If you're coming in from the East Coast, if you're one of my New England friends, you don't have to deal with snow at all. It doesn't even it doesn't even snow in Los Angeles at all. I mean, the coldest it probably got was like around 50. And I know like 50 Fahrenheit is like nothing for y'all. I know because I used to live out there. I love the area for photos. I know other things that can't be helped is I'm not a huge fan with like a lot of the guys with cameras. A lot of people who know the term guys with cameras, you know the types I'm talking about. Because I really feel that cosplay is for everyone and not like one single body type. And I know sometimes it's hard for like me as a 40-year-old cosplayer, and like I know like other folks feel this way who don't fit into a conventional beauty standard, that it's hard to get recognized by photographers no matter how hard you network. And I really wish there were more photographers out there that are willing to take photos of cosplayers of all types. And I know I try to do my best with my work at Scarlet Rhapsody. I try to get like a variety of cosplayers who are new, cosplayers who are old, cosplayers who are just somewhere in between. Because I really want to showcase what fandom looks like. And fandom just comes in all flavors. Fandom is flavorful. And with that said, thank you so much for tuning in to my convention report of Anime Los Angeles, the 20th anniversary. Anime Los Angeles, again, it's one of my favorite conventions. Anime Los Angeles is one of my favorite conventions, and I hope we don't have a delay here because I just changed to the next slide over here. Yes. All right, we are back here. Again, highly recommend Anime Los Angeles to locals. If you're like on the West Coast, Southwest, definitely come right in. And if you're like from out of state, you're curious about checking out California Con, and AX looks a little bit pricey, a little bit scary, come to LA. We'd love to have you here. And all right, with that said, thank you so much for tuning in to another edition of Convention Tea. I always love having visitors to my virtual cottage. Thank you again. Your support means a lot to me. Check out the links in the description. My book is coming out. Really appreciate any pre-orders. And like I said, if I'm a guest at a convention or if I happen to be at a convention that you're going to, I'm more than happy to sign your book. All right. Yeah, in the chat, we have someone here, Wandering Slacker 91, enjoyed your panel. Made sure I got there early on Thursday for it. Thank you. And thanks for the AX ribbon. Speaking of that AX ribbon, I always loved telling convention stories on anytime I do one of these. So my convention story with Anime Los Angeles comes from this photo right here. So let's describe this photo. So in the photo, there are 5 of those AX ribbons, the AX ribbons I mentioned. The AX ribbons with the mascot, Max. Max simply stands for Mascot Anime Expo. Simple as that. Max debuted at Anime Expo 01. Max was a VTuber before VTuber was a word. Max was the virtual co-host of Anime Expo. Let's just say back then, the boomers, the Xers, elder millennials like myself, didn't quite get it. But our kids were going to love it. So I was giving out this Anime Expo ribbon if they attended '01, '02, '07 Long Beach years. And then I'm on the Discord called the Old School Anime Convention Club. So someone on the Discord had asked me to deliver 5 of these to the AMV coordinator. And I'm like, okay, I need to find them. Apparently, they said, like, check the AMV room. They weren't in the AMV room. I went to programming operations, and because I only had an industry badge, I had to be in there escorted by a staff person. But that staff person had to leave right away, so I had to like make this really quick note. I didn't really put in a lot of context, and plus I was just trying to go through get to my phone, look at Discord, and I needed to get the guy's name again, and I forgot what the guy's name was. So I left it on the AV coordinator's desk, and the text here is a friend from the Old School Anime Convention Discord told me to give you 5 of these. And my contact on that Discord sent me this photo sent by AMV coordinator. So, you're responsible for this cryptic note for me, huh? And that's the story. Thank you so much again for attending another edition Convention Tea. Love to have you on. Guys, check out my stream. I usually stream whenever I feel like it. But yeah, thank you so much. I always appreciate having company here. Who knows, maybe I'll stream some fake Grand Order because I have a new laptop coming in. And I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much again. And remember, the convention is what you make of it. So make it a good one. And we will see you at the con. All right, I can stick around for a little bit longer, maybe an extra couple minutes. If anyone in the chat wants to say something about ALA, normally when I do these streams, I don't normally address the chat often because I kind of do these things to upload directly into YouTube. It's great that we had someone on ALA staff check us out. Hi, Warlock Hysteria. Hope you enjoyed it. I know I kind of have some mixed feelings about ALA being a 4-day convention, but I'm always just curious to hear about like just people's differing opinions on it. But just a general like California fandom opinion in general. I think we have a lot of conventions in California, but it's starting to be feeling more like quantity over quality. And ALA really delivers on quality. And I'd rather have like a 4-day ALA, something like that, like 3 or 4 times a year within the state of California than conventions that are very cookie cutter, that are kind of ran on the cheap, scattered throughout and sprinkled throughout the year. It's pretty obvious which conventions I'm thinking of because I do write about them on my website. Because some of these conventions have accessibility issues, and I'm a huge advocate of accessibility. Some of these conventions don't have chairs in their panel rooms, and I would refuse to give a panel in a panel room that did not have chairs for attendees. This was the case at Anime Las Vegas when Cosplay Wrestling Federation had an event there. Our stage was in an area where there were no chairs. In fact, attendees like during the convention were bringing in chairs like from the eating zone, planting them like right by that stage because there's some voice actor panels there because people wanted to sit down. And also, there are people with disabilities who can't stand for long periods of time. So just as a disability advocate, it's just really hard for me to attend conventions that have these accessibility issues. I mean, I do appreciate spaces where us anime fans can get together. I do like the small events, like, for example, I know, like, the MiHoYoverse, like, whether it's Honkai or Genshin, they have, like, events up in Pasadena. I haven't checked out those events, but I've been meaning to try those out. A friend of mine actually told me about them. Also, we do have Asayoro Maid Cafe. I've been meaning to check them out. Those are also, I believe, in the Pasadena area, Alhambra, I think. And I do want to support like a local maid cafe out here. I know we got Dreamland, but Dreamland's more of a traveling maid cafe, and I love them too. I love Dreamland. And I'm actually looking forward to just really branching out to different conventions. Um, I have two conventions that are going to be a personal first this year: Emerald City Comic Con and Worldcon. Now, I have gone on record of going to Worldcon back when it was in Anaheim, but that was just for a day, and part of me doesn't want to count that Worldcon because I think I was at an age where I was too young to appreciate science fiction and fantasy conventions. Whereas now I have had more experience attending conventions, more experience in different realms of fandom, more experience in life in general, and I'm being invited to be a panelist. A friend of mine who's been running AX, like in the early days, had told me that, like, hey, you were selected to be a panelist at Worldcon, the world's oldest geek nerd convention. That's a badge of honor. That's an honorable mention. And I'm like, I'm taking it. Well, with that said, I need to drink the rest of this tea here that I have. And with that said, if we are at the 1 hour mark, thank you everyone again for attending. And with that said, good night, and I hope we can all meet each other again in the cottage.